Okay, so some other items people tend to forget about. Outside positions. This is positions that you're doing outside the federal government. This is for things like where you're serving as a director, a trustee, an executor, a consultant. We tend to think of this as paid positions, but it does not have to be paid positions. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're serving on the board of your homeowners association's board of directors. You're serving as a director, you have to report it. Okay? So even though you're not getting paid, you still have to report it. Even though those are volunteer positions, you're still going to have to report it. Let me give you another example. This one comes up frequently. It's unfortunate, but it's a part of life. Let's say a family member has passed away and you are the executor administering the estate. Do you have to report that? Yes, you do. Yeah, you've got power over financial decisions when you're administering an estate. You have to report it on your 278. Okay, so don't forget about those two things. They're common, they come up frequent enough. The other thing that I'm going to mention here is deferred comp. So if you join federal service, if you were previously working for, say, a government contracting firm or something like that, and you're now in government service, perhaps you participate in a deferred comp. I'm going to mention this for those of you that might be considering leaving federal service as well, because let me explain what a deferred comp is. The way deferred compensation works is it allows you to defer part of your income and receive it when you leave the company. So what that allows you to say is, let's say while I'm working for the company, I'm in a high tax bracket, but I'm planning to retire in 5 years. I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket then. I can say, I want to defer receiving part of my salary when I'm up here, when my tax bracket's up here, and I want to receive it down here. So it allows you to defer receiving some of your compensation. If you were participating in one of these plans before you joined federal service, you have to report it. So just keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind are our debts. Debts. Okay, so we have to report debts greater than $10,000. Like with our investment income and our bank balance, we have to aggregate the debt. So we aggregate debts owed to a single creditor for ourselves, our spouse, and our dependent children. Okay. Now I got good news here. There's a lot of exceptions to this rule. Okay. Car loans. Do you have to report car loans? No, you do not have to report car loans unless the loan value exceeds the purchase price of the car. So that's when you'd have to report a car loan. So if the loan exceeds the purchase price of the car, then you have to report it. What about your mortgage? That's probably going to be more than $10,000. Do you have to report that? Probably not. Okay, there's only two circumstances when you have to report a mortgage. The first one is on your primary residence, you don't have to report the mortgage unless you're renting it out. So if you're renting it out, then you have to report it. The other exception is if you have the fortune of being in a position where you were appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, you have to report your mortgage. Okay, in that circumstance, you have to report the mortgage on your primary residence. Unless an exception applies, but there's only a few exceptions, so odds are you're probably going to have to report your mortgage if you were appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. Okay, if you have a loan on a life insurance policy, let's say you have a permanent policy that had some cash value and then you took a loan out on that policy, do you have to report that? No, you don't have to report that. Gifts. All right, the rule here. Gifts. We have to report gifts over $390. Okay, but I got good news. You don't have to report gifts from a relative. Okay, and relative here is defined very, very broadly. It includes stepchildren, step-parents. It includes in-laws. It even includes fiancés. So do you have to report birthday gifts? No. A birthday gift from a relative you don't have to report. The Office of Government Ethics doesn't care about your birthday presents. So happy birthday, but you don't have to report it. So that gives us a sense of what you have to report as all the things that you need to be aware of when you're preparing for your Form 278.